What are we doing for you today?
Kind of on the side.
Cool.
A little bit cut off in the top end.
Yeah.
Nice beard trim, about 1.5.
Same. So same with the beard.
Same with the
sides. Alrighty. I would say about 95% of my haircuts, I start with the top first.
You ever blend in the sides or like?
Yeah, exactly. And especially if it's someone I've cut before, then I know like what shape is here, like internally. And so, yeah, it does make it easier. Yeah, connecting the sides with the top, and allows me to just establish like kind of boundaries before I start my clipper work of where, you know, where to stop, where to, so even though we're not, he doesn't part his hair, it's more of just a section. I'm going to cut this pretty much with the direction it wants to lay. That's a pretty strong like diagonal. Yeah, you can see back to front most times with haircuts like this. And you have to account for over direction, so like having to take a decent bit out of the back so that as you work forward, trimming something off by the time you make it to the front, depending on, of course, how much over direction you're applying. And also because excess length on the back of the head is just so unnecessary. It contributes pretty much nothing to, I would say, most hairstyles. For the sake of the shape of the head, yeah, I mean, this being a lower point than back here, then yeah, you do want a bit more length there just to compensate for that. I don't know if that's necessarily something that people consciously notice. It helps keep their hair from getting pushed around by excessive weight and length through like the apex area. There's not too many hairstyles where, like, you know, the back being longer than the front is gonna be like intentional. Like, oh, we're gonna intentionally. Yeah, and I feel like some people don't even know, like a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, they wouldn't know to like ask for, and so I feel like this is where like educating your clients about these things is important, because I mean, it might feel like kind of like you're just like, why am I explaining this to somebody that doesn't even do hair or whatever, you know? But I found that, you know, if you're gonna do something like different for someone, kind of explaining something to them definitely puts their mind at ease a bit. Like, dead giveaway for me is when people are like, oh yeah, you know, like definitely people sit down, they're like, yeah, you know, and you can take some out of here, and they'll start grabbing that area, and like I'll look and I'll watch them, like, and I'm like, holy crap, you know, and like you can take here and here, and it's like, you know, a lot of times it'll be like the same length, or if not longer. And so, and that's really where like shape comes in, you know, like, and you don't have to necessarily eliminate a lot of length. A lot of times what I'll do is, if just cross-checking here. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, you can kind of pretty well see a shape in there. So a very, very slight increase in length as we move forward. Nothing too drastic. Like I said, somebody can still very much have problems with their hair. It's not so much like specifically length related. It's just that length can, what I'll do is I'll just take the front. If they don't want to lose a ton of length, I'll just take the front, use it, you know, the existing length as a guide, and then just work shorter from there. And because a lot of times the length in the front is what, you know, gives people the illusion or whatever of how long their hair is. You know, nobody's, yeah, that looks good, you know, like, and that makes a difference, very slight. When you trim the front, you don't want to, unless you do that first and you're using that as your guide. I'm simply just getting the strays from the elevation of the layering that I was doing. Remember how I picked up the front and it was the longest? If I pull the front down after I just did all that and I cut a bunch off, well then when you pick that up, then right behind it is gonna be longer all over again. That's why I said, unless you start with the front and use that, you know, set your line, and then you can pick that up and use that as your guide from there on out, then cool. So I'm just kind of going through and clearing out just any little bit of bulk, but yeah, this is, yep, so 2.5, 2 open. Yeah, and really I just keep a consistent motion, because I pretty well kind of, like I was saying before, kind of set my perimeter in there with all the, with like the shear work. So really, I don't need to like I don't need to do a whole lot of guessing or a whole lot of like searching for where to stop, because for the most part, as long as I keep this consistent motion with the clippers, they pretty much kind of find it for me. And then, you know, then I don't have to worry about doing clippers, doing the top, going back connecting the two. I mean, you know, I'll soften some of this up a little bit, I mean, at the end, but it's not gonna be like a super timely task. Yep, now I'm just gonna do a little scissor over comb, but you can pretty much see like there's not a lot of length there. I mean, I would say visually for the most part, it's, you know, pretty well connected, everything. Things like back corners of the head, keeping those a little more round. You know, typically I like to shoot for more of a square shape along here, but if you build like square corners, then obviously that's gonna protrude, and then you're gonna see that from the front of someone's face, and it's just gonna be like, you know, it's gonna stick out further than everything else. So yeah, so I'd always rather leave like too much weight there and then have to go back and take some out. But like you can see, I didn't have to necessarily take a lot of length to soften it. It's really like just more so elevating, you know, so like I can elevate this pretty high. I noticed there was actually like a little bit more work to do with these, like, than I would want to do with thinning shears. Just have to make some little adjustments along here, and then maybe I'll go back and you know, soften that. But I wanted to like remove a little more length, especially along this side first, and I don't want to just bash through all that with my thinning shears. So I'll remove it first, and then, you know, and then I'll go back and soften it instead of like, yeah, trying to just smash. If I'm doing like real fine like touch-up stuff, you know, like silhouette type, like corners for like little long pieces, or like super straight hair, like Asian hair or something like that, you know, then I will for that, because I feel like coarse straight hair leaves scissor marks, like very strong like scissor marks, and obviously normal scissors cut very bluntly.
What are you working with right here?
This is the, yep, so we're just doing the 1.5 here. I'm just starting with this, instead of like the one guard open for now. Again, just to like clear through all the bulk, you know. I feel like this just gets through. Yeah, and then I'll switch to which basically same thing, I guess, you know, one open, so 1.5. And it's more of like a shade thing, sort of. So I'm kind of like riding the back of this guard off the head. You know, I'm really like in that sideburn area. I'm not, you know, doing that just to keep from making any hard lines. We don't ever go down to like skin or anything like in his sideburn area, you know, but just to lighten it up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I try to be pretty mindful of, you know, whatever's gonna make people the most, like, keep people the most comfortable. Sorry if I say that as I just maybe shot like a ton of beard hair right in your eyes. Yeah, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the fine teeth of the comb, you know, especially in like the mustache area, or like, especially if you have people lean back, you know, and you're like still kind of going like just along like the jaw to where it can shoot up if they're laid back, you know. I'll just take the fine side of the comb and put it like, you know, right above wherever I'm working. And it works pretty well as like a deflector. Yeah, for the hair. A comb, honestly, I feel really strange when I don't have one in my hand. Like, I have one in my hand at all times. Like, if I come up to do something and I don't have a comb, I'll be like, it may seem tedious, like, I don't know how much time I'm spending on just getting this down to one length, but I'm a firm believer, like, if you're gonna do something simple, like a 1.5 all around or a buzz cut, you know, like, that's not like an open door to like doing it in a sloppy way, you know, like, yeah. Details are details. I mean, you know, the small details are small details, regardless of the, I mean, the only thing that changes is just what are those, you know, fine details for that particular haircut. I mean, obviously in a buzz cut, it's going to be making sure you know, you get every single hair, making sure the light doesn't catch it a certain way, and you see some strays sticking up. I have to keep the taper kind of low, low-ish on his hair because it gets, I mean, everybody's hair gets pretty dark, you know, right at the occipital or just below it where it's the most dense, but this is like very, very dark right there. So being comfortable with fading in general, you know, is definitely going to help with the shape of the head, like down through this area, because while it is pretty, you know, it is fading, it's like you really have to take into account the protrusion, you know, of the bones here behind the ear and the occipital bone, because even though, you know, on a flat surface that might look great, you know, but because of the protrusions or, you know, indentions of the bone structure, you know, that can either create shadows or it can create light spots, and then you end up having to go back. And a ridge like right here, you know, you have the two bones behind the ear, you know, and then you have the dip, and then there's a lot going on this part of people's heads. And so you kind of have to make the decision of you're either just gonna go for it and go like fully above it, and then I feel like you have to move everything kind of up a good bit, because if you land like right on that, then you're gonna have like a light spot, like dark, and then light, and then you have to bump that line up, and then it's almost like, is this even a right? Yeah, it's like you might as well just connect it behind the ears and yeah, and do a whole different haircut. I'm just cleaning up these, yeah, just these back lines here. I swear I cut more efficiently than this. I'm not like, oh, let me do one back line and then jump to the taper and then do the other one. Always trim thy mustache before you lean someone back. All right, brother, I'm gonna go ahead and lean you back. Ready? Here we go. Excellent. Yeah. So when I'm finishing up, like doing the line, cleaning up the beard, let me just have you go to your right a little bit, Gabe. There you go. Yeah, I usually start in the middle. Yeah, yeah, I usually start, I mean, because you start at each corner, you know, work in. It's like, you know, you never know where you like cross lines or whatever. And then, yeah, so I usually start in the middle and just kind of work out from there. Okay, here we go. Oh, see, I'm already pretty much perfectly straight, but since what really helps out is the razor. The razor really helps out, you know, to really make like little fine-tune adjustments to, you know, a lot of times I wonder if like, yeah, well, like whenever I'm doing someone's beard, you know, and you're like doing this, or like, you know, you'd be like all kinds of, you know, contorted like in different ways. You get yourself like really hyper focusing in on that one detail and just keep like going at it, and then I'm like, what am I doing? You know, like, and I'll kind of reset, and then I'll sit there thinking to myself like, maybe that's why. Maybe this is why I'm still working on this exact part. Just, yeah, just talc powder. So I just put some pre-shave oil in the skin, beard oil, and then I just put like a light, I'm not gonna use all this, layer of just a little bit of shave gel before I put the hot towel on him. I don't know if there's any like factual evidence or not, but I feel like if you put too much product, like too thick on the skin, I feel like it kind of hinders the use of the hot towel, maybe. Like softening the hair, opening the pores, stuff like that. If you're just like covering them and try to be as gentle, I mean, as possible when it comes to, I don't know, use like more of my fingers, you know, to like really stretch it out. This is where skin prep really comes in. I mean, this is also where like just talking to people kind of comes in too. Like, you know, they have a tendency to have skin irritation or things like that. I mean, you can ask them if, I mean, you would think the whole point of a shave is to get it as smooth as possible, right? But you know, some people may not want you to go against the grain like at all. I'm obviously keeping my eye on like the natural growth and everything, like not like just letting the line get away from me. Yeah, because I feel like if I do it with my trimmer, like I'm gonna come back and do it with the razor anyways. And unless somebody has like super dense, I mean, if they have like super dense hair, like up to their eyeballs almost, you know, then yeah, like I'll knock some of that down first. But yeah, for the most part, I find it easier to do with the razor. Yeah, so I can see like that grows, you know, diagonally down and out sort of. So that's kind of why I'm coming over and sort of coming more across the grain than I am like, I mean, that would be directly with it, and that would just, yeah, that would be probably no bueno. I mean, for at least not on your first pass. I would say that when it comes to beard lines, like, I mean, I don't know, like nobody's perfect, right? I would say that I definitely have like a weak side and a strong side. Left hand or right hand, I don't know that it matters, but like a side that I'll nail every time, no matter what. And then there's always a side where like I feel like I have to go, I mean, whether you're starting, because on one side I'll start from here, work down, you know, and then other side start, you know, at the corner of the mouth and work up. And yeah, I don't know, maybe, hopefully I'm not alone in that. Working on your weak side first, at least as far as like lines go, or say like length of a haircut, you know, if you like split it into two sides. So sometimes I will do the right side first and then, yeah, match the left side to that instead of having a part that always seems to be like dragging. You have to go to your left a little bit, there you go. Just gonna knock just a couple little hairs up here, like right off the cheekbone that didn't get with the razor. Pretty strong product. So I like to just mist the hair a little bit. That's probably too much. Oh yeah, this is the product I'm using. Just because it is like, it's pretty tacky, pretty tough product. I like to, especially if it's someone with thick hair, you know, I like to mist it just a little bit. Really helps to just, you know, makes it a little easier to make sure you're working the product through the hair evenly and also not just absolutely ripping someone's hair out. I mean, I don't know of anyone, yeah, that's ever, yeah, exactly, yeah, I've been, you know, super attached, super prideful of their thick neck hair. We still have to account for Peach Fest. We have to account for the hairs you can't see. Ooh, is that tapped? Yep, sure is. Okay, and finishing touch. Take our wide tooth comb here. I don't know if that's a thing. It's had time to set up. I don't know. I just feel like it gives it time to do what it's going to do. Excellent. Excellent. All right, my friend. You're all set, dude.